In 1984, a Northrop Grumman employee named Thomas Cavanaugh was arrested and sentenced to life in prison for attempting to sell the Soviet Union detailed components of sensitive technology. What Thomas was trying to sell was simply part of the B-2 Spirit project, the most expensive aircraft in the world, whose design was highly secret and at the time was under development, with each unit of this aircraft costing $2 billion. But it wouldn't be long before another employee was arrested. In 2005, Noshir Gawadia was arrested after selling some B-2 Spirit designs to China. He was sentenced to 32 years in prison, in addition to having to pay a $10 million fine. In 1965 in France, still at the beginning of the development of what would become the world's first supersonic passenger plane, the Concorde, a Soviet spy named Sergei Pavlov was arrested after illegally obtaining confidential information about the plane. Ambitious supersonic project. He was deported to Moscow, but on arrival was made Deputy Minister of Civil Aviation. But another spy, named Sergei Fabiev, was not discovered and continued to steal information for more than 15 years, until he was finally caught in 1977. But the damage had already been done by him and other spies. Dozens of blueprints and details about the landing gear mechanism, the shape and profile of the wings, engine details, schematics of the airplane and various systems, all unique to the Concorde, had already been passed on to the Soviets. In 1940, during the development of the top-secret Manhattan Project, whose goal was to develop the world's first atomic bomb, this project employed more than 13,000 people, most of them notable scientists and engineers. So some people clearly had to be spies. Among them was Klaus Emil Julius Foch, a brilliant German theoretical physicist. In the project, Klaus was responsible for several important theoretical calculations related to the first nuclear fission atomic bomb, and later on, he would be one of those responsible for the initial design of the hydrogen bomb. And with the vast and extensive technical knowledge he had, holding extremely important positions in the project, he was the perfect person to steal information and technical details from the project. And that's exactly what happened. Important details about how uranium should be processed for use in atomic bombs, how much uranium the Americans planned to use in each bomb, in addition to drawings, diagrams, formulas, detailed calculations, and hand-drawn sketches about nuclear implosion processes, and much more, were sent to the Soviets. And it is because of this that Klaus is considered to have been the greatest and most important atomic spy in terms of information passed to the Soviets. But he was not able to pass on to the Soviets the important design of an implosion bomb known as the Teller-Ulam design. Besides Klaus, Julius, and Ethel Rosenberg, both American citizens who were convinced to become spies for the Soviet Union, also passed information to the Soviets. Highly classified information about radar, sonar, jet engines, and important information about nuclear weapons design. After being caught, both were sentenced to death by electrocution. Besides them, David Greenglass, Ethel Rosenberg's brother, a skilled machinist who was responsible in the project for creating the molds in which the components of the high explosive lenses used to detonate the plutonium core of the implosion bomb were placed, was also convinced by Julius Rosenberg to become a spy and handed over 12 detailed pages about the implosion bomb. In 2017, David Zhang, an employee of General Electric, the company that made the engines for the Boeing 777X, was convinced by a Chinese university professor to give a presentation at the Nanjing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics in Nanjing, China. The proposal was made through the LinkedIn platform, but despite the strict rules that General Electric has about these invitations, Zhang ignored them. He went to China without notifying anyone. During his presentation, Zhang had technical problems with his laptop, and a Chinese student offered to help by inserting a flash drive into Zhang's computer, which contained 5 complete General Electric training manuals. These manuals usually contain very detailed information on how to assemble and inspect an aircraft engine, including technical information about the parts and the type of material they are made of, among other things. A few weeks after the presentation, David Zhang was convinced by the Chinese to become a spy and start sending sensitive information and details about General Electric's engines. And so, details about turbine technology, engine blueprints, and various sensitive systems began to be sent, especially details about a compound used in the blades of General Electric engines, a piece of technology that no other company in the field had been able to reproduce. This was just one of dozens of cases discovered by the FBI that always followed the same pretext: a presentation abroad. But what is known is that in 2017, China introduced to the world the Comac 919, a twin-engine passenger aircraft that was 100% developed in China. Only the engines and the instrumentation were manufactured abroad. But China stated that in the near future, a domestically manufactured engine will be designed for the C919. In a 1999 report created jointly with several United States security agencies, it was indicated that these organizations had strong suspicions that nuclear espionage was taking place, conducted by China in nuclear weapons design laboratories, especially Los Alamos National Laboratory, Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, among others. According to the report, classified information on all of the United States' most advanced thermonuclear warheads since the 1970s was stolen. I'll repeat, classified information on all of the United States' most advanced thermonuclear warheads since the 1970s was stolen, including the advanced design of a miniaturized thermonuclear warhead, which can be used in the famous and feared MURVs, or multiple independent reentry vehicle, a technology used in intercontinental ballistic missiles, which is mastered by only a few countries around the world. In addition, information about the neutron bomb and weapon codes was stolen, a type of technology that allows computers to run simulations of nuclear explosions without actually having to detonate them. One that allows for rapid and continuous advancement in the process of developing new nuclear weapons. The investigation described in this report led to the arrest of Wenhu Li, a scientist and nuclear physicist at the Los Alamos Laboratory. Wenhu Li was responsible for creating simulations of nuclear explosions, as well as improving the safety and reliability of the United States' nuclear arsenal, and for that reason, he was a key person to recruit as a spy. What exactly is industrial espionage? Industrial espionage can be defined as the act of obtaining confidential information or data by illegal or unethical means from companies, governments, corporations, or individuals in order to gain a competitive advantage or to reach a similar level. This action is usually orchestrated by an infiltrator or by recruiting one or more employees of the company so that they start stealing the corporation's best-kept secrets and information. In recent years, it has increasingly been carried out through cyber attacks. And who are the targets? Usually high-tech industries, particularly the biotechnology, information technology, telecommunications, aerospace, automotive, chemical, military, industrial, and energy sectors, among others, that invest in research and development and therefore have the most advanced technologies on the market, which is why they are the biggest and most valuable targets for espionage. One of the reasons why companies engage in industrial espionage is to save time and also large amounts of money. After all, why spend years researching, developing, and testing a prototype of a nuclear submarine when you can just steal the blueprints from a country that already fully masters the technology, right? But how does a country or government know that there is some super secret program underway by its enemy country? Let's go back to 1951. A routine inspection conducted by the CIA found an enigmatic device in a symbol offered in 1945, 6 years earlier, by the Soviets to the United States ambassador. The device had no batteries, no cells, nor any internal power source. Shocked by this, the CIA called it the Thing. If the Thing had no power source, then how did it work? Experts discovered that when someone directed a certain range of radio frequencies at the device, the Thing would start working and listen to government secrets, while at the same time sending them back through the same frequency range to the originating source. So the Thing was actually a listening device used for espionage. And so, several secrets discussed behind closed doors were overheard by the Soviets. Due to its passive operating mechanism, the thing is considered to be the precursor of RFID technology. Information is power, and information can make the difference between success and failure. If a company's secret is stolen, the competitive playing field can be leveled or even tipped in favor of the side that stole it. And that's how, between 1959 and 1990, a series of highly secret spy satellites like the KH-9 Hexagon, Gambit, the Corona satellites, and many others gave the United States an advantage. Spying on and photographing tens of thousands of kilometers of territory in the Soviet Union, China, and other countries. And that's how the United States photographed ground zero of the RDS-37, the first Soviet test of a hydrogen bomb, which somehow used the design of multi-stage thermonuclear implosions, known in the United States as the Teller-Ulam design. A design that was 100% developed by the United States and was kept under lock and key. This design is also known as the secret of the hydrogen bomb. In addition to nuclear tests, the satellites made it possible to count the number of tanks, silos for launching nuclear missiles, know the type and number of airplanes, observe secret locations, and much more. A real advantage.
We observed this from a distance of 70 kilometers. Any number of people were close to a soldier who was at cannabis.
Things like the Buran space shuttle, the supersonic Tu-144 airplane, and the RDS-1 are examples of technologies obtained through espionage. Whereas the U-2 airplane, the SR-71, among others, are technologies created for espionage purposes. And espionage is not something recent. It has been around for a very, very long time. And it was, is, and will continue to be carried out by various nations in order to gain a competitive advantage or relevant strategic knowledge about other nations or organizations, always through illicit means.